In this lesson, we're going to do some factoring with quadratic expressions. So here we go. We're asked in this example to factor 3x squared minus 16x plus 5. We're going to follow a method that some people call the area model. I like to call it the AC method, and you'll see why here in a second. Remember that when we look at a quadratic equation, we see quadratic equations, or in this case expressions, in the form ax squared plus bx plus c. So for this problem, the value of a is 3. The value of b is negative 16. Make sure you take the sign with the coefficient. And the value of c is 5. X is never part of b, and x squared is never part of a. X is x and b is b. They're not part of each other. They're separate things. All right, so let's step through the process of factoring this using an area model, or what I like to call the AC method. The first thing we want to do is make sure the expression's in standard form. This one already is. 3x squared minus 16x plus 5 is in the form ax squared plus bx plus c. Then we need to find the product a times c. Well, a is 3 and c is 5, so AC is 15. Next, we identify b. Well, we can see from this expression b is negative 16. Now comes the trickiest part of the whole thing. This is where we actually have to put out some effort. We have to try to find two numbers whose product is 15, and those same two numbers have a sum, or they add up to negative 16. So if we look at all the possibilities to get 15, I can use 1 and 15, I can use negative 1 and negative 15, I can use 3 and 5, I can use negative 3 and negative 5. Well, I see pretty quick that negative 1 and negative 15 also add up to negative 16. So those are the two values that I want to use. Now I'm going to place the terms, the 3x squared and the 5, into the area model. So I'm going to place the quadratic term, which is the x squared term. That goes in first. It's the first term in standard form. It goes the first term that goes into the box here. So 3x squared goes in there. The constant term is the last term. It goes in last. So we're going to go ahead and put that in. Now, the negative 16x is actually going to get split up into these two factors, a negative 1x and a negative 15x. It doesn't matter which one we put where in these two boxes on this diagonal. We just have to make sure one of them gets the negative 1x and one of them gets the negative 15x. From this point, we look right down this diagonal, or excuse me, this column. Now we ask ourselves, what can we factor out of a 3x squared and a negative 15x? Well, hopefully we see we can take out a 3 and an x. So we take out the 3 and the x. Then we look across this row. We ask ourselves, what can we take out of a 3x squared and a negative x? We can take out an x. From this point, we can look at and see what equals negative 15x. Well, 3x times what? I've already got the negative 5 here because I did it in a different order when I programmed the slide. But 3x times what would equal negative 15x? Well, we need a negative 5. Then we look at this last little blank here. X times what would equal negative x? Well, that, of course, would be negative 1. Then there's a check here. Negative 5 times negative 1. Notice when we bring those across, they intersect at positive 5. That's a good thing. Just to reiterate what happened here, 3x times 1x was 3x squared. 3x times negative 5 was negative 15x. And lastly, we had this x times negative 1 was negative 1x. So all those little pieces multiply to make these things in the boxes. We have our solution here to the factor right on the edges of this box. One of the factors is 3x minus 1 right off the top. The other factor is x minus 5 right off the side. That is it.